Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go. Hi, everyone. Today's Tuesday, September the 30th. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. I'm going to start with gold this morning because it's sitting in a very interesting spot. A lot of stuff has happened in the overnight. We had 4 hours of relentless selling that looks like what we haven't seen in a while, especially in the overnight. So we normally see selling like this based on some sort of news event. And the last time it happened, it came down to value area low and then turned right around and moved back to value area high. So what did we see in the overnight? Well, I took a Fibonacci and I measured value area low to value area high, and I did an extension. And right up here, the call wall, 3,900, that's the big call wall. At 3,900, it collapsed right off of that zone and then fell like a stone, right? And it fell back into the breakout area at 3,825. Now, when things like this happen and we fall into these zones that a lot of people see, reflexive buying, or sometimes I call it the delta unwind, because the cumulative delta becomes very, very negative, or it dips down very sharply, and then we get our first bounce up. This, I believe, is what is happening right now. We've got a pretty choppy zone between 3,835 and 3,848. After that, this is the second biggest line in the sand for gamma right now. It's 3,850. And then the 0 DTE call wall is 3,860. A lot of levels in between there. The big one to watch, though, is this put wall at 3,835. If we try to break down again, and we cannot, I suspect the reflexive buying goes all the way back up to the call wall. And I'm thinking that's what's going to happen if this put support holds. Cumulative delta right now is 2,600 or so. When the price action started falling off a cliff at 2 a.m., the cumulative delta was, wow, how can I see what that is? Show legend. Looks like it was about, I don't know, maybe 5,000, something big, right? So right now they are trying to hold the floor underneath there to give it a reflexive bounce, at which point it could fade again. This is the big trend line that we're watching. And if you go, well, that's kind of an ugly trend line, you could make a completely different one here. How about if I do that then? How about if I do that? If we stare this down and we just connect maybe that line, or I don't like that one either. We could join these two together. This line seems to be holding fairly well, right? So that might be a secondary zone that we want to watch, but above it, it's a bullish retracement. Okay, so where would I set up a trade here? I'm going to wait until it gets through all of this noise, because I have a combination of buyers and sellers in both areas. And so what I want to get to is a zone where I only see buyers, or a zone where I only see sellers, right? So it's either going to be the hold of this that's going to give me my only buyers club, or the failure of this to give me my only sellers club. And I'm not getting involved in between that. That's just me. All right, let's continue on. Let's start with EZ. Well, let's continue to EZ. And we can see, take a look at this. We have been sitting in this range since September the 11th. Literally. We popped out a couple of times, right? If we draw the box a little bit lower and we say, well, you know, maybe we hold the base of that anchored VWAP from the close of the day. And we literally have been sitting here, Yeah, since September 11th, right? Completely sideways. Completely sideways. We hit the top of the box yesterday, 6,733. Today, we're breaking down under this line again. And we are sitting at, remember, yesterday's 0 DTE put wall was, no, yesterday's call wall was 6,700. Today, they've moved it up to 6710, right? And we stayed in that zone. Notice accumulation, 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 distribution into the base of the wicks. And now, here's the tell. If we lose 6,695, we're going to stair step down into the bottom of the box, at which point we'll have ourselves another run to the upside. I'm going to remove that ray so it isn't so noisy. Lines to watch today. Certainly this high volume line at 6,695 looks like an area where buyers are trying to put a floor in. Whether they win or lose, it's hard to say. Notice it's got negative trend and momentum. It's under the VWAP, right? And so if I want to look at, which moving average shall I look at? 63 or, come on. Yeah, let's look at the 63. Right? Sitting right here on the 1 hour chart, trying to hold the floor. My thought is that we are still in this box, in this fade. This is going to be a very choppy day. It's the last day of the month, last day of the quarter. A lot of big traders that I know don't even trade on days like today. They absolutely do not. So, yeah, that's what we're staring down. Levels. So the anchored VWAP from 2 days ago, which would be Friday, the anchored VWAP is 66.81. Likely the next target if we lose 66.95. And then the put wall should give us a reflexive bounce. That number is 66.60. So that's what we're staring down. Above 67.50, this is tightening up a little bit. I think we go essentially sideways. We're going to have a lot of wicks, so be very careful today with the wick action. All right, let's take a look at the NQ. Of course, we do know that these call walls, there are a lot more of them that are put on into Menther Q. They are the guys that I use for the call wall events being put on my charts on TrendSpider. Totally love them. Very invaluable, particularly when markets start going just a wee bit bonkers. Okay, so what are we staring down in the NQ? Let's see if these two lines tell us anything. We'll see. So, what's happening? Big sell-off during the day. We hold the floor. It goes sideways all night. Inventory accumulation. Accumulation regions 24,815 all the way up to 24,855. Not a ton of volume here, comparatively speaking, right? Yesterday versus 2 days prior. A lot of volume here. So likely somebody's positioned, and now they're just treading water to go in whatever direction. The VWAP, 24,770. Buyers are trying to come in there. So you want to watch for the buyers to disappear here in order to take it down to the 0 DTE put support line, which is 24,725. I expect that they hold this zone. It continues to move up. So it looks pretty bullish. You could say, wow, that's a pretty ugly inverted head and shoulders pattern. I would rather not do that. I do see a fair bit of accumulation all the way around here, but the box, in my mind, is very big, right? Look at this consolidation event. It it really, if I look at it, it's all the way down to this VWAP event. And that number is 24,500 or so. Okay, so again, very noisy. Look for the areas where you're seeing everybody turn into buyers after being sellers, or everybody turn into sellers after being buyers. And so that's going to give you your breakdown event. Upper line, 24,900. Value area high. It's sitting in the value area for this time frame. And so it could be that we are going to bounce off of value area low, 24,665. And then watch for the delta unwind if we get that giant fade to the downside. I don't know that we will. We could have ourselves a big sloppy mess, or we could sit sideways until 5 minutes of 4 and then, everything goes berserker, right? It happens. We just need to be pretty careful today in terms of exposure. It's very, very important that we watch our exposure. We trade small and we trade waiting for our setups. That's going to be incredibly key. All right, let's go to SPY. Put wall, 655. 0 DTE call wall, 662. Big call resistance, 670. What are we doing right now? We are really sitting in a pocket, right? Buyers come in at around this 662. Sellers come in around $663.50. There is a very big institutional positioning at $660 in the near term here. It is both calls and puts they have here, and I'm not sure how they are working through their deltas. With that one, I would not be surprised with a test of 660. We should see a bounce there first, but if we bounce and we cannot get up over 662, we should go down to the base of the value area low, which is 657. In the meantime, we'll just wait and see. We are not going to have a jobs number on Friday because the government is going to shut down on Wednesday. They kick the can down the street and then they give us, X, Y, or Z, and then we have to live with whatever it is that they say, right? All those numbers are estimations anyway, but government shutdown, nobody's going to do anything. So I don't really see any kind of explosive move coming. Just might be a slow bleed before we start trending up with the new earnings event. All right, listen, that's it for me. I know I used to cover a lot of other instruments. I'm studying too deeply to be able to do that, and then these things become 52 minutes long, and I can't stand that. All right, take care. You've got the levels. You see the heavy congestion. This is a fight club right here, so watch the edges. That's going to give you the sweet spot to trade today, and this call wall sitting right in the middle of it tells you that there is a very likely movement here, and it could easily move up or down. Just follow it whichever way it goes. All right, take care, everybody. I'll see you on the streams.